Okay, hello everyone and welcome to this week's Tourism Teacher Talk. Today we have Melissa Wiringi with us, who's going to talk to us about how you can fund full-time travel through investment schemes and passive income streams. So hopefully this will be a really, really interesting talk. It's something that a lot of people are quite interested to know more about. Melissa's gonna teach us all. Hi Melissa, how are you?
I'm good, thank you so much for having me here today.
Great. So, there we go. So, Melissa, we'll start off. Would you like to just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you? What's your story?
Okay, yeah, so my name's Melissa. I am a world schooling mum now. I have 3 children and a lovely husband. And backstory, I guess, is in 2010, I was actually a single mum with 2 kids. And one of the dreams that I wrote down to do was travel the world with my 2 kids in the next 10 years. And as it unfolded, pretty much we left within that 10 years. However, we sold everything to travel the world in February 2020. So we ended up arriving here in Vietnam in early March 2020, so the 6th, just before everything went a bit chaotic. And we got stuck here. And initially we thought, oh well, the world will open up soon. It can't possibly stay closed for more than a couple of months. But of course it did, and here we still are. So yeah, that's sort of how we came to be here in Vietnam, and we're enjoying life. It's a really great place to be stuck during the past year and a bit.
So what's it been like in Vietnam? Because I know lots of people are really interested about, when I say I'm in China, what's it like? And obviously Vietnam has done quite well so far. What's it been like for the last year and a bit?
Yeah, so I actually think we're really lucky to be in a country where, I guess, what I've seen in the world, and this is only my opinion, is that what I saw happen last year was a lot of division in a lot of countries. So there were a lot of people that said this thing is the right answer and that solution is the right answer. But the solutions were so far apart that everyone was arguing about what they should and shouldn't be doing. And here in Vietnam, we didn't have that. It was just unity. So the government said this thing happens and everyone just said, okay, let's do it. Let's get on board and get it done. And so up until very recently, I think the cases were sitting at still under 3,000 cases. Now that may have changed because we're recently in the midst of this newest outbreak with one of these Indian strains. But for a country with 95 million people bordered with China, Laos, Cambodia, and we've also got the ocean there, it's been extraordinary. Like they've had less than 36 deaths total over the course of COVID. So as far as countries go, we always say Vietnam's #1. And of course, I'm born and bred in New Zealand. So when I say that, people go, oh, but New Zealand did really well. And I say, well, New Zealand's a tiny island or a couple of islands in the middle of the South Pacific. Nobody can get to it. It's got no borders. And there's only 5 million people. And they've had more cases and probably more deaths in here as well. So we're comparing 2 completely different countries. So as far as last year went, we had one small area where we had 3 weeks of restrictions. During that time, that was the first lot at the end of March, so 3 weeks of April, we were still allowed to ride our bikes out in the rice paddy fields. We were still allowed to go to the markets every day. And we just happened to be stuck in the fabulous Hoi An. So we still managed to go out and check out Hoi An town and go through all those beautiful rice paddy fields. We really were very, very lucky. We had a swimming pool, so it was fine. And after that, Vietnam was mostly good. They had another big outbreak again in central region about July last year. And the main city here, Da Nang, was locked down for about six or 8 weeks. But fortunately, during that time, we just happened to be out in Quang Binh in a place called Phong Nha, one of my favorite places in Vietnam, just a heads up for anybody who wants to come here and go somewhere different. We were out in Phong Nha and we didn't have any lockdown. We didn't have any cases. We didn't have anything out where we were. So we just went along and enjoyed life. And so pretty much up until this year, we've not really experienced too much change. Although with this new outbreak, the government's really worried. So our province is now in a little bubble. Nobody can come in. If they come in, they have to quarantine at this point. there's no more eating out. The restaurants are closed for eating out, so it's a takeaway and delivery only. And so it's a little bit quieter than it was. It was just starting to kind of get some of its vibrancy back. So it was so sad. We're back here in the Hoi An area in a place called Anbang Beach. And when we were here last year, before we left, it was really sad. And then they've also experienced those huge typhoons throughout October and November last year that really devastated this whole area. And we've come back and we've seen it, and we felt so sad for it. And then it's just started to get life back in with the April and May holidays. And now it's back to being really quiet again. So it's been really interesting. I probably need to do more videos, because it's become so normal to walk through these quiet streets. I forget that for the rest of the world, this is quite surreal to see a place that's so busy in tourism so empty. I forget that sometimes.
This definitely sounds like a fascinating place to have been stuck for the last year, and I think there are worse places as well. So I've seen in some of your posts and your social media stuff that you talk about financial freedom. So what does this actually mean, and why is it important?
So I guess financial freedom to me, and I guess it's probably a more personal thing. It's about having the ability to spend the money on the things that you want to be able to spend the money, right? And the reason that it's important to me, and I think for a lot of people, maybe people see it a little bit different to me, is time freedom actually is more important to me than the financial. And the reason being is that I have children. So I have 3 children. And my family, I come from a family where my father was an entrepreneur and he worked really, really hard. And so we had an abundance of money and not so much of the quality time that quality time is one of my love languages. If you've read that Love Languages book, that's sort of what I'm about. And I love spending time with my family. And so my family is really my big why. And, I just love being able to spend the time with them. When we came out here, our plan was to travel for 1 to 2 years. And during that time, we had this intention that we would start a travel blog and it would carry us all the way around the world. But obviously the travel blogging thing, apart from your blog, you're doing really well, but it probably was a really difficult year to launch a travel blog. So we sort of just held back off it and didn't want to put too much energy into that, although it is there. And so when travel comes back, it will be an income stream again. But financial freedom, it's having those income streams that can support us so we can enjoy the lifestyle that we want, because we're living in 2021 and it doesn't have to be, a 10-hour a day job or a 60-hour a week work lifestyle, which is, what we left behind. My husband was working about 60 hours a week on trucks. He'd go to work at 3 a.m. in the morning and get home in the afternoons. And then on Friday, he'd get home and he was just absolutely shattered, and he'd sleep in on Saturday. We'd get Saturday, and then Sunday he had to go to bed early. So, he feels like he's missed out on a lot of the kids' lives. I think he needs to do more of these talks, because he feels like he knows the kids more than he ever did before. He felt like, he didn't really know the kids, even though he lived with them. He's realized he's missed out on a lot.
Yeah. And I've been doing a lot of careers talks for travel and tourism students recently. And I've been trying to emphasize to them that, you can go and be cabin crew or a holiday rep or, take one of those traditional jobs. But in 2021 and beyond, there's so many other ways we can make money. We don't have to just follow those strict paths and be employed by somebody and do as we're told and work the hours that we're told. There's so many different options. And I think COVID has helped push that along a little bit, I think, with the remote working, etc. But financial freedom, I think it's never been more accessible to people. So I think loads of people, myself included, really find your posts and your live videos you do really fascinating and inspirational.
Awesome.
So talking about these inspirational posts, so I see what you do a lot of the time and what you're doing in your typical week or day. but the people who are listening probably don't. So can you tell us a little bit about what life looks like for you?
Yeah, sure. So at the moment, for the first time in a long time, we've actually got some kind of a routine. Before we moved back here to Anbang Beach, we were just, I don't know, we just had a different day every day. It wasn't really any consistency. It was a little bit weird. But if I go back to like at the end of December last year, we moved to Phu Quoc. So that's a little island in the south of Vietnam. And we lived there from December through to the start of March. And those days, you know, how that would go was we would wake up in the morning, we'd go down to the little market lady who was on our alley and buy some pineapple and some watermelon and some bananas and whatever other fruits we wanted. And we'd just have like fruit for breakfast. Or if we were really hungry, we'd go around the corner and get like a little banh mi. So that's like a little miniature French baguette with all the goodies inside. And then it would be swimming pool time, because in Phu Quoc we had a huge, massive resort pool. And then usually in the afternoons we would head down, and either before or after dinner we'd go and sit and watch the beach and watch the sunset. And I mean, if anyone was following me back in January and February, it's like sunset overload. Like most of the stuff that we were posting was sunset. So because
everyone loves sunsets, it's so good.
I know, it was funny, and now I actually miss that because we haven't got the sunsets on the other side of the country here where we are. So it's not quite as spectacular. I need to get my ass out of bed earlier and take some sunrise photos, but the motivation just hasn't been there yet. We'll get there. It's getting really hot now. So at the moment, though, the kids are back into, we came here for the World School Hub. There's a World School Hub now based here in Anbang Beach. And we came back because they were doing surfing and skateboarding, and they had woodwork and painting and art classes and sketching, and they had like a lot of stuff going on. So we were like, right, if we can get the kids back into a community and have some friends again, that would be good for them, because probably the hardest thing traveling during COVID has been that there's not been as many traveling families as there would be ordinarily. So the opportunities to meet up and hang out with other kids is a lot smaller and less. So at the moment, what we're doing is we're waking up in the morning, kids are having their breakfast, I'll do my exercise, we get the homeschool stuff out of the way before midday, and then we go out at lunchtime and we go and meet up with some of our friends and have banh mi together usually. And then like right now, everybody's just at the beach and they've got a beach volleyball. They'll be swimming in the ocean, and probably this afternoon, if it cools down, they'll either play volleyball at the beach, or my husband will take some of them down to play basketball at the basketball hoop. So, you know, it's pretty crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still do a little bit of work here and there. Like I jump on an interview once every now and then, and you know, every now and then I'll be doing a phone call with people that I know that are interested and want to get started doing something like what we're doing. And I help people with that. So yeah, it's a pretty good work-life balance. I definitely say my kids can't complain. They definitely see a lot more of me than they would if I was remote working or working a regular job, because I'd be blocked off from them during the day. So we're doing really well. The balance is coming.
Yeah, it sounds great, and it definitely looks great from all your stories and everything. And I've actually heard great things about the Hoi An area in terms of international schools and homeschooling and world schooling. It seems to be quite a hub there.
Yeah, there's a good expat community here, and that was our main draw card to come back here, because the main areas now are here and then in the bigger cities to connect with other expats, but we're more villagey people, and so this place has just got a really, really neat villagey feel. We've got little cute alleys and motorbikes, and there's not a lot of cars and traffic, and it's just what we like. We like our kids to have freedom. Our kids can take their bicycles. I've got 2 bicycles here. They can take them and ride down to their friend's house without me worrying. Whereas if we were living in somewhere like Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi, we wouldn't have that opportunity, because it would be a big city life, and I don't really want to do that. So we love it. We love it.
We were there in Hoi An and Phu Quoc in beginning of March, so maybe about the same time as you just got there. Yeah, we loved them both. So I'm very envious right now. So you often talk about passive income. So can you tell us what exactly is a passive income and how does it work?
Yeah, sure. So passive income is basically when your money is working for you. You don't have to physically trade your time for money. And again, that comes back to my time freedom. Why is I don't want to have to go out and spend a lot of time to make money. I want my money to go out there and work for me. And if you think about it, a lot of us have been bred with this work hard mentality. It's like bred into us. If we don't work, we're not getting paid. We need to have a good job and work a lot of hours, and a lot of hours equals a lot of pay. But when you actually step back and look at the most wealthy people in the world, they actually work less. And it's not something that we're taught. I think the most wealthy people in the world, they're people like Bill Gates. Yes, he works exceptionally hard, probably, and he reads a lot of books, but he works hard differently to how we have been taught to work hard. And so passive income is basically taking your money and putting it in a place where it's going to work for you. Now, whether that's stock markets or foreign exchange, or whether it's now the cryptocurrency space, whatever it is that you really enjoy, it's about getting that money to create more money so that you're not trading your time for it anymore. And sometimes that sounds like a lot of hard work, but it doesn't actually have to be, because there are other people out there, experts, who we can pay to get them to do it for us. So that was the mentality that we had behind getting some serious passive income going.
Yeah. So why did you choose to invest your money in that way, and what are the benefits of that?
Sure. So like I said sort of before, we really came with this intention that we were coming away for 1 to 2 years. And during that time, we sort of just planned that we would somehow make some money. And we didn't really know clearly how that was. We sort of thought it would come from the blog and social media. And we didn't really know what we were doing, to be perfectly honest. But as we realized COVID wasn't going away and we got to September, and I know that some people may or may not understand this, but the price of flights have, quadrupled or fivefold, increased in price. So we kind of got to September and we realized that if we didn't sort something out really quick, smart, we would have to jump on a plane and go home, because we'd have no way to sustain our stay here. And so I was very fortunate that at the right time, right place, right person, a friend of mine tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, are you looking for another passive income stream?" And I said, "Actually, yeah, we really do need to sort something out right now." And she showed me the foreign exchange trading platform that we use. And we thought it was great. We jumped on board. We saw results straight away. We had payments coming through within the week. And we just realized that it was going to be a really good strategy to keep us here. I guess the key benefit for us is that I don't need to think about it. I actually don't worry about where my money's coming from. I don't worry about how we're going to eat this week. I don't worry about how we're going to pay for anything. It's done. And like, to be fair, we only started this in October. So right now we're not living like lavish billionaires yet. But I say yet because while we're living off it, it's still actually building. And that's quite extraordinary. I think to know that we have this sense of relaxation or calm around knowing that we just have full faith and knowledge that there's trading going on for us right now while we're talking. There's trading going on 24 hours a day, 5 days a week for us. And every weekend we're able to take that money out. We take it out straight out of the ATM machine and we can go and spend it. And for me as a mum, I think that's just extraordinary. No, I think any mum would understand, we do enough as mums. Mum's a full-time job. So if we can just have money that comes to us because we deserve it, I think that's extraordinary. I really think it's huge. It's incredible. I would much rather let professionals make me more money than trade my time.
Absolutely. I think that's everyone's dream, really, isn't it? You get to do whatever you want with life. And for you, that's traveling. For me, that would be traveling. But not everyone's the same and everyone's got different ideas. But at least it frees you up and gives you the time to do whatever it is that you want to do, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So do you think this is an area that's going to continue to grow, and why?
I actually do. It's expanding at a massive rate because of the technology that's there now to support us to do this sort of thing. You know, we've all seen the internet, and we've seen people making money selling stuff and doing stuff, and a lot of like network marketing and all these different industries that, you know, people want to be able to make money from home. And so it's definitely an area that will continue to grow. Some of the things that make it a little bit hard is that in the past 12 to 18 months, there's probably been more scams than ever before. Like we've actually firsthand witnessed a lot of stuff, because obviously we're traveling and people are pitching us everything, like everything. We actually see everything. So we've seen everything from smart contract, what I would term as a Ponzi scheme. So watch out if you see something that's telling you to buy some Bitcoin and then sell it to your friends and family to make 100% profits. That steer clear of, because that's just, I don't think that's cool. There are a lot of platforms that are asking you to send money to it, and it's going to do some magic genie thing and pump out all this money. We've watched at least 2 of those go under this year. We're about to watch a 3rd one go under that just launched in January. So that side is the negative, because people are afraid, because there's a lot of scary stuff out there. And by all means, everyone is right to be cautious about where you put your money. But it's definitely an area that's going to grow. And the main key is going to be picking out the goodies from the baddies. And that's the key, is to actually do some real serious hard work and do due diligence on whatever you're looking at putting your money into. And if you're not sure, you need to go and talk to more experts, more people who know what they're talking about, because
like you.
What we've well, that's it. I mean, I think, you know, the amount of people that sent me things that were smart contracts over the last 12 months, it really was quite sad for me, because I realized that these people have had their minds, they've been filled with stuff like it's a gifting thing and it's a crowdfunding campaign and all these jazzed up words to try and sugarcoat. Really, you're just taking money from your uncle or your auntie or your mum or your dad. Oh, and
Sorry,
you know, that's just
her dummy. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Please carry on talking.
That's okay. And people are just, you know, recycling that cash. And obviously, then if mum or dad or uncle can't also share that with someone, then they make nothing. So I think it's really important, you know, whatever you do look at, really look at it with open eyes and be, you know, open to what it potentially could be. If it feels funny, if it feels off, I say that that's a huge hint for you. You know, if it feels good and it feels great, I'm quite an intuitive person. Look at that. One area where we are is FOREX, and so we've got regulated brokers, and that was a key area of why it ticked a box for me, because a lot of things that I'd seen in the past that had similar things, they didn't have any regulated broker association. So I think if you're looking at it, whether it's from FOREX, whether it's from cryptocurrencies, whether it's from whatever it is, look for the things that make it real. In the crypto space, I would highly recommend not sending your crypto to anybody else to make money, because in this day and age, you don't need to. In the foreign exchange market, make sure that there's a regulated broker involved somewhere. If it's in the shares and trading industry, well, you'll need to make sure that the person or the people that you're dealing with are actually trading shares. There needs to be some sort of documentation to show that. So, yeah, I think there are things, just be careful, but it's definitely an industry that's going to grow. But with it, obviously, there will also be the dark side of that, is people putting up stuff that's not real. So just always do your research, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and that can be said for many industries, not just the sort of online work and investment type thing. There's always people that are going to take advantage and try and do different kinds of scams and things. So, you know, it's not just limited to what you're talking about either, is it? So, you know, people need to be careful in lots of walks of life with that. So how has earning money in this way changed your life?
I love that question. It's changed my life because our 1 to 2 year plan has evolved to we are now not ever going back to the old way. My husband, after 8 to 10 months, he's really settled into not having a job, and he said, Melissa, I'm not ever going back to a job. I'm not ever going back to a job, and we have this extraordinary way we can actually see our future now. Like I said earlier, we've only been doing this sort of 7 or so months. So we're not, at the moment, we're not driving around in Lamborghinis or any of that jazz. But what we can see is that as time goes on, we're able to continue to put money into what we want to trade. So at the moment, we're, mainly in FOREX at the moment, but we're also starting up cryptocurrencies as well. And what we've done is we've looked at what the returns are that we're getting, and we're going, okay, like what's it going to look like in 3 months? What's it going to look like in 6 months? And it's extraordinary. So, I think for us, it's just changed our whole way of life, our whole being. It's given us a sense of security, the financial freedom. We actually feel like, although in the immediate right now, it's still not like we can't go down the road and buy a house tomorrow, but we can do that in the short term. Looking at what we've created for ourselves in the next 2 years, we are going to be in a position where it won't matter so much what the flights cost for a family of 5. And we remove a lot of our barriers around, like, can we travel? Can we do this? Can we stay in a 5-star hotel? You've seen like some of the stuff that we traveled. We did the 5-star cruise in Ha Long Bay and stayed in that cute little pool villa, the yellow one. And we like a bit of luxury in our life. Like, by all means, I don't like doing it 24/7 because I've got rugrats that they can be brutal. I don't like living in flash places for long times, although we did do it for a little while. I like to mix it up and give kids a variety, but it's really changed our life because we're no longer relying on somebody else to give us a job. We're no longer relying on, well, that's your pay. It's no longer like, oh, I need to take a day off because my son is sick or my daughter's sick, or I need to take a week off. Can I please have a week off so we can go to the south of France or whatever? We don't have to ask permission to go and live our best life. We can just go and do it. And that's just amazing for me. I'll never change. It's incredible.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said, go and live your best life. And surely that should be what life's all about. But unfortunately for most people, it's not. It's about working and buying a bigger house and buying that new pair of trainers for your kid or the new iPad or whatever. And yeah, we want the trainers and the iPad and the house. But there's so much more to life than just those things, isn't there? And I think you do that so well through your videos and your posts on social media.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's something for me. I just say, why don't you just go and live your best life while creating your ultimate dream reality? Like we kind of now frequently say, like, one of my frequent sayings is, we're living the dream while building the dream. Because my ultimate dream is to have myself a big, 5-bedroom house with a pool overlooking the ocean. That's something I've been, writing out for a good year or 2. And we're not there yet, but we're well on the way to that. And in the meantime, we're traveling. We're in Vietnam. We're living our dream right now. And we're just building the next level of that. And, what people forget, and it's been bred out of us. I think innately we know it, and that's why so many people do desire the word freedom is quite an attractive word to people. Innately, you know that you're free. And you've experienced this. Look, you're living in China. You're doing what you want to be doing. You're living somewhere different. You're doing life different. You're not stuck in your hometown working a 9 to 5, saving up in the hope that one day you're going to have enough money to live your dream. You've just gone, I want to do life different. What could I do? I could go move to China and have a job there, and that gets me to the other side of the world. Really, it's that simple, isn't it? Like, it's not, you don't need to have $500,000 in the bank to move across the world. And we've proof of that. We've got 3 children. When we sold everything, we didn't even own much. We didn't have a house. We didn't have fancy cars. Our TV broke before we got to sell it. So, it's not about having $1 million before you start living your dream. It's about just figure out what it is. If your dream is to go and live in Costa Rica, book a flippin' ticket, save up enough to get you through there, figure it out along the way. It won't let you down if you're committed to it. It really won't. And I truly believe that. So, yeah.
My secret weapon for the children. That one. So what are your prospects and hopes for the future then? Because obviously you've been stuck in Vietnam, which is a lovely place, but I'm guessing you want to do something a bit more than that.
Yeah, we've definitely got a little bit of itchy feet, but my kids are in love with the place. They really, really love where we are. They've got some of their best friends that they've just totally connected to. So in the short term, you know what, we're just going to sit still and we're going to just wait, because like we all know, vaccines have been run out. I'm not a pro or an anti. I'm just like, I'll watch and wait and see what happens. I don't know if that's going to fix the problem in the world, and I don't know whether they're just going to go on and let us travel with it in the world, or I don't know if the doors are just going to stay locked in the world. So for us in the short term, it makes sense just to stay in a stable place where we can have some security and some stability. I think I'm a person who thrives in change and uncertainty, but there's a bit of a limit. And so there's some people that are actively traveling around Europe, but they tend to be people that have, some residency or something over there. So it's okay for them. And we've talked about it, do we go over to Turkey and finish or keep doing what we'd started? But the thing that keeps us here is, if we went to a place like Turkey, if it locks down and it gets into, can't leave the house and things like that, it's not really going to be enjoyable. And we sort of thought it's hard enough moving to a country, let alone moving and knowing you've got a 3-month visa. And then in 3 months' time, you've got to again go through quarantine and testing and trying to figure out how to get there and if it's open, or maybe it'll close the day before you want to leave. It's too much. So for us, we just thought, I can't deal with that mentally. So we just thought we'll just stay still, enjoy where we are, maximize what we can save, and create some more, like I said, we're in a process of creating more passive income. And so eventually when the world does open, we're in a position where, if the flights stay very expensive for some time, we'll still be able to go and do that. We won't be limited. And so for now, we're just happy here. I would like to say we'd get to explore a bit more of Vietnam, but at the moment that's even off the cards with the current situation here. So we'll just sit tight and enjoy the beach every day, enjoy our surroundings and our tropical fruit and our markets.
There are places to be.
I know, right? So and I can't say like the heat, like this time last year it was about end of May, June that we ran away from here last year because the humidity got to me. We ran out to the hills in Sapa and lived out there for 3.5 weeks because it was too hot. And I really want to do that now, but we can't. So we'll just go and make the most of being in the ocean and just enjoy life. And then in the future, when things change, I'm sure they will, we'll just keep taking advantage of the opportunities and move into the directions that we can, whatever countries that open that feel safe to us, that we can get long-term visas. I've got to go and watch your recent YouTube about the digital nomad visas, because I think that's a big thing. As long as COVID's around, realistically, it's not going to be hopping from country to country, 1 month here, 2 months there. It's not going to be like that for us. We're looking at more anywhere that we can go for 6 to 12 months at a time minimum.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a different way of traveling, certainly in the short term, once it does open up, isn't it?
I really think so. I agree.
Yeah, going with the flow is and keeping your options open is definitely the way, I think, the way to deal with it.
That's right.
Yeah. So if anybody is inspired by your lifestyle, whether they want to travel full time, or whether they are just interested in investing their money and wondering where that might take them, what advice would you give them?
You know what? Be careful. Like, really do be careful. There is a lot out there. Talk to someone that you know and trust. I mean, whether that's talk to Hayley and get connected to me through Hayley, I'm happy to chat with you. You know, there's more than one way to do it as well. And that's what I think is, don't box yourself in that you have to do it one way, because, you know, I know people thriving that are traveling in a whole bunch of different ways. And it's about working with you and what you like. And I mean, whether that means you want to become like a life coach and then put some of the money into some sort of trading, whether that's foreign exchange, whether that's shares, whether that's, you know, cryptocurrencies, whatever it is. But it's about figuring out what's going to work best for you. What do you need? You know, are you going to go and live in somewhere like the UK where it might be higher living expenses, or are you going to come to Asia where it's cheaper? You know, it's a lot of things to consider. You need to figure out how much as a base you need to be trading to be able to make a living off of it. You know, right now we've got a really solid trading base for us so that we can afford to do this. But if you have $1,000 trading, probably not going to be able to live off that if you're a family of 5. So it's about figuring all of this out. And like I always say, my husband and I, we just keep saying, wish we had found this before we left. You know, we always just say, gosh, if we had found something like this before we left, we would still have a lot more of what our savings were. We wouldn't have so much trading. We'd be able to diversify some of our investments. We might even be able to get into the stock market. We would be further along. But here we are, and we're building anyway, and we're having a good time doing it. Yeah, we're still having a good time doing it. But I would just say, you know, hey, talk to people. People are making money, and like I say, I mean, I'm fully transparent. So, I mean, if this is something you're seriously looking at, talk to Hayley. She'll put you in touch with me. I will open up and show you all of what I'm doing, my back office, whatever you want to look at. I will show you where we've made money, where we've withdrawn money, and I'm happy. Like, I don't have anything to hide on that front. So if that is something that appeals to you, for sure, get in touch, or just do your research on whatever you're being shown. Really do the research.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I think it's really interesting, and hopefully that's given people something to think about. So if anybody is interested in maybe learning more, or maybe going down this route yourself, you can just drop me a message and I can, as Melissa said, put you in touch with her. So thank you so much for that. Next week on the Tourism Teacher Talk, we have Philly Hertzberg. He is going to talk to us all about experiential travel. So hopefully that will be an interesting one. That is on Thursday, the 20th of May at 5 p.m. China time, 10 a.m. UK time. And for anyone who isn't following me on social media yet, here are some of my social media links. I am planning in the next few days, I hope, to launch some exciting new YouTube videos. So I'm going to be doing an education series. Sorry, stuttering there a bit. So I'm really excited about that. So do click on the link to go and subscribe, whatever. So thank you so much, Melissa, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Bye-bye.